Good day and welcome. I'm Dr. Joseph L. Williams. I serve as the author and founder of The Journey, the 40-Day Turn-Up. And if you're watching this, it's because you are about and preparing to go through the 40-Day Turn-Up. This particular video that you're watching is an opportunity for me to officially orientate you. At this moment, you should have already been the recipient of who your leader is, who your group members are. You should have been indoctrinated in terms of the expectations that you have. You should have been the recipient of your participants manual, as well as participating in viewing what you're doing now, the orientation. Just so you can have a point of reference, all I'm doing is I'm taking this as an opportunity to go through the participants manual. You should have the participants manual. This means that you can do two things. Number one, you can go through the materials with me as we are preparing to go over them now, as well as you can reference the participants manual in the future if you forget something, or if something is not clear, or if you need to refresh your memory about something that we've covered. I want to let you know that it is very, very important that every person who's watching this, that you read the participants manual in its entirety. 95% of the questions that people ask at the beginning of the process are questions that are in some form or fashion addressed within the participants manual. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll take as much time as needed to cover everything, but I won't take any more time than that, okay? All right, gang, let's go ahead and get started. All right, the purpose of the 40-Day Turn-Up is, this is a 40-day process designed to assist participants in weight loss. The process was founded by myself, the author and founder of The Journey process. The 40-Day Turn-Up is an offshoot of The Journey. The Journey was a process that was set up very similar in terms of small groups, leaders, buddies, focus on parts of nutrition, but it also had heavy emphasis on emotional detoxification and spiritual recalibration. The 40-Day Turn-Up is taking the essence of the nutritional parts and portions of the journey and solely focusing on that. So when you hear the journey and the 40-Day Turn-Up are not the same things. They're different. The journey is the mother, per se, of the 40-Day Turn-Up. Okay? Very important. Okay. Chapter 2. Nutritional guidelines. The 40-Day Turn-Up is based on what we call the Journey diet. The Journey lifestyle is a way of eating that I personally use to lose over 120 pounds. I was once 330 pounds. And my approach revolved around eating balanced meals at a strategic time during the day to maximize fat loss and minimize hunger. It's the best of both worlds. What better plan to have than to not be hungry all the time, or to be satisfied and to burn fat at the very same time. During the process called the 40-Day Turn-Up, and we reference the 40-Day Turn-Up as a process, not a program. You'll see it in the literature as program. That's just for the ease of communication for people who don't understand it. But for those of us who are in this particular process, we call it a process. Programs start and they stop. A diet is a program, okay? It starts and it stops. But a process is something that's ongoing. We're trying to get you to relive your life in a way that this way of living becomes a part of your daily goals, okay? Chapter 2 is very, very important. So I want you to take time in your small groups to yourself and learn what a balanced meal is. A balanced meal consists of all three macronutrients, all right? God made things to where there are three building blocks of nutrition: protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And the way we break these 4 to 5 meals out a day is every time we eat a meal, we check off two things. Number one, Is the meal 400 calories or less? Why do we use it as 400 calories or less? Because when you get to a meal that's more than 400 calories, you begin to feel it in your stomach, and it begins to become too much food for the typical average person to process within a 3-hour time frame. That's the purpose. So a meal that's above 400 calories is too much for the body to process, to assimilate, and to be ready to eat again 3 hours later. It's the perfect amount of food, and this has been tested and tried time and time again. When you're eating a meal, you want to be certain that every macronutrient is on your plate. Source of protein, source of carbohydrates, source of fat. Don't overcomplicate it. You don't have to be certain that every protein is the exact gram amount that the carb and that the fat is. But you want to be certain that your meals are balanced. That means that when I eat a meal, I've got the presence of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. It's very, very important that you understand that. There are some foods that have proteins and fats in them. For example, an egg has a protein and a fat. There are some foods that have protein, carbs, and fats. You may be eating yogurt that has yogurt, which is a protein and a fat source, and it may have fruit on the inside of it. Okay? Don't get caught up in the nuances of every meal being one protein, one carbohydrate, one fat, because there's very, very few foods out there that are just all one of the 3 macronutrients. All you want to ask yourself is, do I have all 3 macronutrients on my plate or whatever I'm eating? And is the meal that I'm eating 400 calories or less? If you're able to say yes to both of those things, assuming that what you're eating is on the approved list, then you have a Journey approved meal. It's that simple. There may be some meals that you use, like if you want to make yogurt, let's say for instance that it's a fat-free yogurt that you like and it has fruit on the inside of it and you need a fat source. Then you may add approved nuts in the proper amount to that particular meal to make it work. The key to this is at first it can be very, very difficult because we're not accustomed to thinking about proteins, carbs, and fats. We just eat them. But what I'm teaching you is information that you can apply for the rest of your life. So take time, look at the chart that's in your participant's manual, study it. Does it have every single protein source that exists on the planet? No. Does it have every single carbohydrate source that exists on the planet? No. Does it have every single fat source that exists on the planet? No. But it has a good amount of each macronutrient, so you get the point of what you should be eating and how your meals should look. Okay. All right. Now, let me give you a few examples of meals. 2 slices of bacon, 2 eggs, cup of grapes. Salad with veggies, oil-based dressing, and tuna. Pork loins with Brussels sprouts cooked in olive oil. Yogurt with a serving of nuts and half of an apple. These are just meal examples. I encourage you, and those people who do the best in this process are individuals who learn how to be creative in the process. Use your spices. Stay away from spices that have sugar and salt. If you're going to use salt, you want to use Himalayan sea salt, okay, a natural source of salt. Your cayennes, your cumins, turmeric, garlic powder, onion powders, your chili powders, sage, rosemary, thyme, basil, parsley. It's so many different ways that you can make your foods taste well and good. And the important thing is to use those spices and to prepare your own meals. Now, a few things that I want to say. I want you to be certain that every time you eat a meal that you are counting out the calories in the meal. This is going to be very, very difficult because we're living in a time and a culture to where we overeat. We eat too much as it is. We eat too much and we eat too often. So getting to the point to where you're counting out your calories can be a bit of a discomfort for most people. You have to get to the point to where you're certain that all of your meals contain proteins, carbs, and fats. Your meals are on the approved list, and that your meals have all of the nutrients that that are needed. It's important that you understand carbohydrates and proteins are both at 4 calories per gram, whereas fats are 9 calories per gram. The reason why this is important is because you can have a smaller weight of fats, i.e. olive oils or your cooking oils or your tree nuts, but it has more calories than the same weight of proteins and carbohydrates. You don't have to worry about that as long as you're sensitive that whenever you're looking at the caloric amount in each of the foods that you're eating, that it does not exceed what you need it to exceed in order to be a healthy amount, okay? All right, let's talk about meal timing. Meal timing is very, very important. We're eating every 3 hours, 4 to 5 meals per day, okay? That's the first thing that you have to know, you have to understand. We're eating every 3 hours. Now, a lot of you may say, well, I've got a different type of work schedule. I work in the nighttime. I work in the middle of the day. I work here. I work there. That's fine. Because the goal is that you allow your time to start once you wake up. If you're waking up first thing in the morning at 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. or midnight or 3 p.m., whenever you wake up, your day starts or your time clock starts 1 hour within rising. You need to be consuming your first meal. This is going to get the metabolism started. It's going to get nutrients into your body. This is going to get you running, moving, doing what you need to do. If you wake up at 8 a.m., your first meal needs to be by or before 9 a.m. So that means if I eat my first meal at 9, my second meal is going to be at noon, third meal is going to be at 3, fourth meal is going to be at 7. If you're going to bed at 8 o'clock, you don't need another meal. If you're going to bed at 8:30, so the key is you use food as fuel. You don't consume any more than you need that will fuel yourself throughout the day. Okay? So that's meal timing. What about snacks? We don't snack. We eat meals that has proteins, carbs, and fats. We eat them 400 calories or less, and we eat them once every 3 hours. There's no such thing as snacking during this process because you don't need it. If you're eating like you're supposed to eat in the ways that I've already shown you and written for you in the participants manual, then you'll be fine, okay? Let's talk about chapter 3, items you must avoid. I want you to be certain that each of you read chapter 3, really all of the chapters, but you want to be certain that you know this part backwards and forwards, okay? You want to be certain that you understand all of the things that we are avoiding, okay? We are avoiding and removing permanently all gluten, all grains, breads, crackers, wheat, pasta, wraps, cereals, anything that looks like bread. Even if you go to the store, you can find gluten-free crackers or gluten-free bread. None of that. You're eating none of that. Don't play games with yourself trying to say, well, they have this gluten-free wheat pasta. Can I have it? No. No breads, no crackers, no grains, no wheat, no pasta, no wraps. Nothing that even looks like it. No cereals. Those are all carb sources. Those things are one of the major reasons why so many people suffer from diabetes. Because when you eat those things, it breaks down into sugar. Your carbohydrates are solely coming from fruits and vegetables. That's it. Okay? Be certain that you understand that. You will avoid any beverage with calories. No juices, no smoothies, no mixes, no Cokes, no diet sodas, no flavored waters. The only liquids that you are allowed to consume are herbal teas and water. That's it, okay? Anything with calories in it, you're not consuming it in terms of drinks. No alcohol, no sodas, no juices. Okay, none of that. No mints, sugared gums, candies, or the like are permitted. Even if items are sugar-free, they are to not be ingested. Those things have a lot of chemicals on the inside of them. All right? If you want to keep your breath fresh, all right, I kind of told a few of you, you can get some of this. Okay, you see that? Peppermint oil. And you're looking at it, it looks backwards. This is peppermint oil. A bottle of this, you can get it from any health food store. It's very convenient. It's strong. Put it on your hand. Do it like so. Freshens the breath, opens the helps with sinuses. It's no calories, no chemicals. It's very, very strong. It's not going to have anything that's going to cause you to deviate. This works better than gum. It works better than mints. Has no sugar. It's good for you. It helps to suppress the appetite. It helps to open up the nasal passages. It's excellent. All right? So none of that. All right? Why must we remove these items? I've studied this approach closely for the past 6 years. The presence of wheat, gluten, grains in abundance is a major culprit of obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. Once these items are removed, your body will positively respond. I promise you, if you just do what I'm telling you to do, everything will be great. Again, this is the most important chapter, 2 chapters of this book from the vantage point of difficult to kind of understand. If you get this, you'll be successful. If you get chapters 2 and 3 in terms of what you can and cannot eat, how you should eat, how large or small a meal should be, you will be well on your way. So be certain that you read those things to get the clarity that you need. Chapter 4, exercise. 90% of your results that you attain will come from diet. However, I want you to commit to doing some activity 3 to 4 times per week. I don't want you to worry about exercise now. Trust the process. All right? When we detox on those first 2 days, no exercise. Let's get through that first week, and trust me that I'm going to give you the proper information and guidance on when you need to start incorporating exercise into this process. Trust me, okay? Chapter 5, let's talk about tracking calories. Tracking your calories is important to your success. If you do not track your calories, you may eat more than what is suggested, and therefore you will not get the results that you desire. There are several free tools and apps that can be used for your convenience. Some apps that I recommend are as follows. Again, this is in your participant's manual. MyFitnessPal, Lose It, Fat Secret, Chronometer, Spark People. These are free apps that anyone can get on your Droid or on your iPhone. Okay? There are other apps that are coming out each and every day. You may have one that does more, that you like more. If it tracks your calories, it's fine. A lot of them have a device to where you can scan a product and it'll automatically tell you exactly what it is. Now, what I want you to be aware of is on a lot of these programs, they will put you on a plan of how many carbs, fats, and proteins that you need to eat. Now, when people who are coming through this particular 40-day turn-up, when you come through the process and you use the nutritional suggestions of these apps, they will tell you that you're not eating enough of this, that, or the other. I don't want you focusing in on that. I want you to do what I'm telling you to do, because this is what's going to get you the results that I've gotten for thousands of people across the country and now soon to be across the world. Trust what I'm saying. All I want you to do is, if you decide to use those apps, just use them for their calorie counting abilities. Okay? All right, chapter 6. Water intake is very, very important. You should consume 1/2 of your body weight in ounces. If you're a 200-pound person, you need to be drinking 100 ounces of water per day. Okay? When the summer months come, sometimes that amount, believe it or not, needs to be increased. Now, most people are saying that's a lot of water. But when you think about how many liquids you drink, when you're taking out the juices, the coffees, the smoothies, all the stuff you drink, and you replace that with water, it's not that big of a difference than what most people drink. Most people drink about 100 ounces or half their body weight in ounces per day. But the problem is they're drinking it in things that have calories, sugars, and other crap chemicals on the inside of them. Okay? So let's be mindful of that. The only people who should not be drinking half of their body weight in ounces are individuals who have medical conditions and your medical doctor has told you that you can't consume that amount of water due to some type of medical issue, whether it's kidney issues, whatever it is. I'm not going to say what that is, but if you are a healthy person, your doctor has signed off for you to do this, which all of you should have already gotten that signed, then you should have no problems. Follow your doctor's orders, okay? Why should we drink water? Drinking water is going to help you with digestion. It's going to help you with burning fat. And it's also going to help you to suppress your appetite. Most folks who are hungry are actually thirsty, but they don't realize it. It's very, very important. Okay. Supplements. There are 2 supplements that I recommend that each participant has. One is a good multivitamin. The second is a fish oil. Fish oils are very, very high in omega-3s, which help to counteract the harmful, toxic omega-6s that you find in a lot of fried foods, processed foods, things of that nature. Reference your doctor to be certain that your doctor, that he or she approves. Go to any local health food store and buy the most expensive brand that you can afford. And when I say the most expensive brand, buy the best brand that you can afford that money can buy. That's a good rule of thumb. If you go to Whole Foods, if you've got that, I live in Atlanta, we've got a lot of those down here. You may live in different parts of the country or the world. If you go to a vitamin shop or a Whole Foods market, you want to ask them for a multivitamin that is a food-based multivitamin. When multivitamins are food-based, it means that the nutrients come from real foods. And when you're giving the body a food-based multivitamin, the body can recognize its biochemical formation better than one that is synthetic. Meaning that when the body sees it, it knows exactly what it is, it recognizes it, and it processes it just as it would if you got those nutrients from foods that are growing in the wild, okay? Fruits and vegetables, meats, fish, etc. Okay? Monitoring. Through this process, your weight, blood pressure will be monitored by your group leader. All right, now we're global now, so we've got groups all over the world. So for those of you who've gone through the process prior to 2019, this isn't just everybody coming to one location in Atlanta. We've got groups in Atlanta, in North and South Carolina, New York, Pennsylvania, Texas, California. We've got groups in Boston. We've got groups in France, Saudi Arabia, Florida, all over the place. It is every group's responsibility to monitor the progress and to track the progress of your own group. We've already given you information as to what you need to do to get that information to us so we can be certain that we are addressing issues as they arise and coaching you accordingly. All right? Groups and meetings. You will be expected to meet weekly with your group. At these meetings, your weight and blood pressure will be tracked and recorded. This will always be the time when you will share with your fellow group members your success and failures that you experience each week. Every week, I'm going to be teaching a live class that you will either be streaming live or you're going to be watching it at an archivable time within the comfort of your own group. No person is to watch what I'm doing on their own. It will only be made available to groups. This is very, very important. All right? I'm going to be traveling around, teaching them in different places. I still don't know what my schedule will be on those Saturdays, but I will tell you that in time before this process begins, that you'll have all of that information to know how to get access to it, because I cover a lot of things to really teach you that will be a huge benefit. Let's talk about detoxing and fasting. There will be the participant's manual says 2 scheduled days for detox. All right. That's going to be the first 2 days of the process. Day 1 of the process, which is a Monday. Day 2 of the process is a Tuesday. You will have your detox. You will mix it. Many of you have already ordered it. You know how to mix it. Those are all of your calories in one day. Don't drink it at one time. It's not a race to the finish. It is to take that 1 gallon of detox formula and drink it from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. What I recommend is once an hour having 8 ounces of detox and 8 ounces of distilled water. The next hour, 8 ounces of detox, 8 ounces of distilled water. If you get to the end of the day and you've got this much detox left or that much detox left, and you feel satisfied, you don't want any more, you do not have to force yourself to finish. Listen to your body. Okay? Discontinue the detox if you're sick, nauseous, vomiting. It should not cause any of those things. What it should do is to help you purge. You should be going to the bathroom often. You should be making several trips. Okay? A lot of times people have excessive amounts, or not excessive, but multiple bowel movements. That's normal. Some people, it doesn't make them have bowel movements like that. But what you will be doing is you will be having often trips to the restroom to urinate. So just be prepared if you're at work, if you're at home, to be making several trips. That's quite normal. Okay? Chapter 11, there are graduation requirements. Each person must lose 10 pounds or more. Each person must be in good standing in their meeting, meaning you are participating in your groups. Each person must be making good contributions to the overall group. And lastly, you should be present at all of your group meetings, unless you have some type of issue that you've been able to work through with your captain. Okay? Diabetics. If you are diabetic, you're still welcome to be part of this process. The more important information you need to know must consult with your medical doctor before starting. This is important because you will be consuming less sugar than you were before starting. So to all my diabetics who need special attention, you need to work with your doctor. As the weight comes down, as the amount of sugar that you're consuming is down, in many instances, your insulin, if you're on it, is going to have to be adjusted by your doctor. There's no one-stop shop. Every diabetic has a different concern, which means your doctor needs to not only sign off, but work with you to where you're getting the proper amount of insulin. If you keep at this process, there's a very, very good probability that by the time the 40-day turn-up is over, either you will not need medicine, or your medicine will be greatly reduced. And if you continue after the process, it's a good chance that you'll be off medicine completely. I make no promises. I make no guarantees. It all depends on the individual, the extent of their condition, and how serious you are about this. But you can heal yourself of type 2 diabetes. It has happened several times in this process. I've seen it time and time again, and you can be no different if you work with your doctor and do what your doctor recommends for the better you. All right, gang, that's the entire presentation, orientation in less than 30 minutes. I hope you're well and blessed. I look forward to working with each of you. I love you. God bless you. And I can't wait to see the amazing things that God is getting ready to do in and through you. Pray for me as I continue to pray for you. Peace, blessings, and shalom.